nourish my soul. You nourish my soul with that sweet divine, sweet divine, with that breath, with that breath.
What's up, guys? Today we're talking about the breath. The breath is quintessential to life and is incredibly important to holistic vocalism, to singing from a grounded place, from ensuring that you're getting the rest you need, the fire you need, the fuel you need to sing the notes you want to sing. There's so much to learn about the breath that goes far beyond just singing and vocal technique, and we're going to explore some methods of expanding your breath, exploring your breath, as well as just tap into some different ways in which breath exploration can teach us outside of vocalism. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get into it. That sweet nectar breath. Did you know that the breath amounts for 70% of detoxifying the body? The breath leaving your body is taking out 70% of the toxins that you've put into it or that has been acquired elsewhere. Isn't that incredible? The breath has been proven with good conscious breath work that you can relax your state of mind, that you can boost your immune system, that you can almost achieve superhuman ability. The breath has so much to be explored, and for me, there's been no better place to explore the breath than yoga. See, yoga talks about pranayama, and pranayama's rough translation is vital life force, and it couldn't be more right. The reality is that in most yogic practices, when you are pushing your body and exploring the corners of your uncomfortability, it is imperative that you remain connected to your breath, to your vital life force energy. If you are extending beyond yourself and losing the foundation that you are sitting on, the oxygen that is providing sugars to your bloodstream, that is keeping your heart pumping, that is helping you with muscle growth, that is helping relax your body and your mind, you're losing the whole picture. And so often within the human condition, we are extending way beyond what is our comfort zone. But we should be leaning, right? We should be leaning into our uncomfortabilities so that we can grow. But so often we extend far beyond our capacity for growth at that stage, and we completely negatively impact the productivity of that progression, right? So Wim Hof has taken the internet by storm with his superhuman abilities of boosting the immune system and climbing Everest in board shorts, right? If you haven't checked him out, he's definitely worth checking out, and his teachings are incredible. And they're not something new. They've been around for a long time. Breath work, getting high off your own supply, taking a few deep breaths can change your whole perspective. It can change the way in which you perceive the world, right? So we're going to explore breath, and we're going to take on tools rather than routines. I'm here to deliver to you ways of thinking, ways of exploring the voice that can ensure that it's a fun process, that it can ensure that it's still adventurous. Getting into the rut and routine of feeling that you need this pressure, that you must be disciplined in this specific method of working through your vocals. Of course, you must be disciplined in being consistent, but you must not lose the play, you must not lose the exploration, the innocence that keeps it fresh, keeps it fun. Okay? So the first thing we're going to talk about is your tank capacity. Now, I'm going to bring to you a video. If you haven't seen what your vocal folds look like, this is going to blow your mind. It's incredible. So take a look at this. Your vocal folds are inside your throat, and there's two little flappy pieces of skin that are vibrating in a strange way, allowing air to leave the compression chamber of our lungs and only allowing specific amounts of air to leave, and creating a vibration that emits tone. Our throat is changing shape and size at the same time to create the right amount of compression and resistance to the air leaving our lungs so that we can produce notes. It is absolutely incredible. It is a magic. It is a phenomenon that all of that is going on. Like whilst I'm speaking to you, all these different notes that I'm choosing, all of these different expressions, all of these mechanics are happening naturally, happening effortlessly. So our job here is not to control these things, but to observe them, to acknowledge that this is going on. Now, our diaphragm is pulling a vacuum into our lungs and allowing the air around us to be absorbed into our bodies. That pulling motion, that muscle that is pulling our diaphragm down and expanding our lungs is fighting the fascia and bones and muscular system around our lungs, because they are naturally in a compressed state to allow air to come in. And if we don't ever take deep breaths or do cardio work, the capacity of our tank is going to be very minimal, because that compression would have won. And this is where we start to get chest breathing, where we breathe into 10% of the capacity of our lungs, right? So the first thing we want to do is expand that. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some of the techniques I use to help with breath, to help ground me, to help center me. So I'm standing up, and if you're going to attempt some of these things, I really suggest you stand up as well. Standing up is going to help your shoulders come back. It's going to help open up your chest a little bit. It's just going to enable you to really feel into it and to dance into it and to feel energized by it. So the first thing we're going to look at is expanding the capacity, as we talked about. How best to do that? Now, there's a YouTuber called Elliot Hulls who helped bring this idea to me, and a philosophy, if you will, of breathing to your balls, breathing down to the depths of your being, breathing down to the bottom of your body. You see, we are so used to breathing shallowly. If we're not doing cardio work and we're not doing breath work, we're often breathing to our chest. We also believe our lungs are somehow held in our chest, when really, our diaphragm is pulling all the way down. It's pulling down to our balls. And we actually have a huge capacity for breath, but because of that compression from our muscular system, our fascia, that is fighting us, if we don't expand it, we don't fight back with it, if we don't stretch it out, relax that system, it's compression is stopping us from breathing deeply. So the first thing to do is to take a nice deep breath and hold it. Now we can include something that deep divers do, which is called sipping. At the top of your deep breath, take a few sips of air and keep filling that capacity. Start to feel that compression build. And when you're there, I want you to hold it. Feel that system start to relax. Feel that oxygen start to go to your head. Feel your body start to thrive off that oxygen. Feel the energy it gives you. Nice long breath. Sip. Hold it. Release. As we do this on and on, we're going to start to feel that our body has a bigger capacity for breath. And it's an incredibly useful thing to give you some vitality, to oxygenate your system, to give you a little bit of bounce. It's something that I do quite often before diving into videos, diving into performances. Take a nice few deep breaths, ensure that my capacity is full, that I haven't been shallow breathing for a while, that I have, and that I'm using this body that I've got, this instrument that I've got to produce sound. The second technique we're going to talk about is about maintaining and managing this compression. So we have built all this energy, we have all of this potential energy within our lungs. How do we make sure and exercise our ability to deliver that energy as we need, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice deep breath, and we're going to release to it And we're going to make sure that sound is the same volume. We're going to keep that volume and we're going to release it as long as possible. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do that. I think my longest is up to a minute. So you can really engage your whole body and test your system this way. Now remember, these are tools of exploration. I'm not here to create a regimen. I'm not here to help reinforce these very boring practice methods. This is a fun exploration. These are the mechanics that control your voice. There's so many ways to explore this thing. So right now we're releasing to it. You can release to a vowel sound. You can release. You can change the volume. You can explore going from a high volume to a low volume. Now, it's important to acknowledge here that from what we've shared, that as the compression leaves your chest, you are going to need to start adding compression with your abdominal region, with that muscular system, to ensure that the compression leaving your capacity, your chamber, your resonance, your fire chamber, your energy chamber remains the same, right? So as we get to the end of the breath, we're going to notice that our abdominal region is going to start to support the breath. And this is a really important conscious awareness of what's going on, because if your abdominal region is stressed and tense, you're going to find your shoulders are going to arch forward. There's going to be so many negative consequences of not utilizing the natural energy that your body has to push air out of you, which means you're not breathing, and all you're doing is focusing on using your abdominals to create it. And some people don't use their abdominals. All they're doing is relaxing, using their natural compression. So observe yourself, witness what is happening within your experience. Now I'm going to share with you something. I'm going to share with you my journey and how the psychology of singing has been such an important thing to include. You see, when I first started singing, I was incredibly breathy. I had this aspirate tone. Hey baby, what you wanna do for me? I really wanna come down over to you. It kind of sounds cool. It's got a little sexy thing going on. It's got an intimacy, but it also has this sensation of desperation. And with that came a lot of expellation of air. I was getting rid of all my energy, all my fire, all my potential energy. And so I've needed to realize that I need to harness that energy and use it and color when it's needed. We want to expand our palette so that we can be in control of these colors of expression, so that when the song calls for it or the moment calls for it, we can tap into those sultry elements, but also not be bound by them, But I also noticed in a psychological way, there was a desperation for me to fulfill being this thing that I know I was, to being a singer, to being great, to being heard and valued by the audience around, and feeling this weight of like, I know I'm here supposed to do this, but I'm trying too hard. And we talked about this earlier, about how breath symbolizes our ability of staying grounded and staying where we're at, staying on our seat, It shows when we are overextending ourselves. The first thing that loses its cool when we are stressed is breath. If we were to constantly acknowledge our breath, we're going to know exactly when we're getting stressed and ungrounded. So there's this beautiful thing to mention as we exit this beautiful video. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Hit that like button if this has added just a little bit of value to your life. Share it with a friend, and I would really appreciate it. Let's get this conversation going. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about breath. You see, the breath symbolizes life in such a beautiful way. There's the inhale, the receiving, the feminine, the nourishing. There's the exhale, the finite, the delivering, the giving. So much of breath has taught me about life as a whole, creating balance. You can only give as much as you are receiving. You can only push as much as you are nourished. And this is a really important lens to look into with the breath, you know? So much of this world, so much of the energy we spend here is talking, is getting our ideas out to people, is not taking the time out to nourish our bodies, nourish ourselves with the beautiful world that is around, the beautiful natural world that is around. Taking a second during our performance, during our playing to check in. Are we nourished? Are we nourishing ourselves? Have we checked in with our divine feminine? Have we done what's needed to receive this blessing of life? Are we appreciating it? Are we grounded in that? Once again, guys, thanks so much. Stay tuned for the next few videos, and I really look forward to connecting and chatting with you. I'll catch you later. This is Ashpong out.